Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver George Pickens just made headlines for all the wrong reasons. After an underwhelming performance this season, he took an unprovoked jab at Detroit Lions star Amon-Ra St. Brown, calling him a scheme player. What does this mean for Pickens, and how might it impact his future in Pittsburgh? Let's break it down. The Pittsburgh Steelers are no strangers to drama, especially with head coach Mike Tomlin steering the ship for over 18 years. This season, however, things have been particularly rocky. With a quarterback controversy brewing, veteran Russell Wilson returning from injury to challenge Justin Fields for the starting job, the last thing Tomlin needs is a distraction from his young wideout, George Pickens. In a recent appearance on the facility, Pickens didn't hold back.
Me averaging, 18.1 last season. I'm most definitely in, year 3? I'm definitely feel like I'm top 5, top 3, just off of I just got here.
He boldly claimed he is a top 5 receiver in the league, a statement that raised eyebrows, especially given his current statistics. But when questioned about why he hadn't put up those elite numbers, Pickens fired back with a controversial remark. He criticized the league's offensive schemes, specifically calling out St. Brown, saying, "That's how you get Amon-Ra St. Browns. Slot merchants that schematically get fed the ball." By labeling St. Brown a slot merchant, Pickens implied that St. Brown's success is largely a product of the system rather than pure talent. This kind of comment not only undermines St. Brown's abilities, but also subtly hints at criticism towards his own offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, for not maximizing Pickens' potential. Interestingly, despite Pickens' bravado, the stats tell a different story. Currently, Pickens has more receiving yards this season, 363 yards on 26 catches, compared to St. Brown's 289 yards on 31 receptions. However, St. Brown has 3 touchdowns to Pickens' 0. In the grand scheme of things, these numbers may not mean much if Pickens continues to alienate teammates and coaches with such remarks. It's worth noting that Pickens is undoubtedly a talented player. Last season, he caught 63 passes for 1,240 yards and 5 touchdowns. His raw skills and potential are apparent. However, it's crucial to recognize that talent alone doesn't guarantee success in the NFL. The ability to work within a team framework, to elevate others, and to conduct oneself professionally off the field are equally important. Tomlin is known for his show-don't-tell coaching philosophy, and he might be approaching Pickens with caution. In the Week 5 loss to the Dallas Cowboys, Pickens saw his reps dramatically cut. Tomlin's decision to limit his playing time suggests that he's not just looking for talent, but also for a player who understands the importance of teamwork and accountability. Pickens has already faced scrutiny for his behavior this season, including being fined for an inappropriate message written on his eye black. With comments like those aimed at St. Brown, the Steelers organization may need to consider how his actions affect the team's morale and chemistry. As Pittsburgh gears up to face the New York Jets in Week 7, all eyes will be on how Pickens performs. Will he channel this confidence into productive play, or will his antics continue to overshadow his talent? In a league that thrives on rivalries and fierce competition, players must strike a balance between confidence and respect. If Pickens is truly a top 5 receiver, he needs to let his performance speak for itself rather than resorting to disparaging remarks about his peers. The Steelers are currently sitting at 4-2, and with Wilson's return, the team faces a critical juncture. How Pickens handles his role moving forward could have implications not just for his career, but for the entire franchise. As this season unfolds, will George Pickens rise to the occasion and prove his critics wrong, or will he let his ego derail his promising career? The NFL is a league where actions speak louder than words, and Pickens has a chance to change the narrative. What do you think? Can he transform his swagger into success on the field, or will his words continue to haunt him? Stay tuned, because this saga is far from over. In the world of sports, passion can quickly turn into chaos. Just days after the Baltimore Ravens secured a thrilling win over the Washington Commanders, a shocking incident unfolded that left fans and authorities stunned. A Ravens fan, filled with bravado, roamed the streets seeking confrontation, leading to an assault that has now escalated into a police investigation. What drove this fan to violence, and what does it mean for the spirit of sportsmanship? Let's dive into the details. The Ravens' victory was meant to be a celebration, a time for fans to rejoice in their team's performance. But as the sun set, the streets of Baltimore became a battleground. 24-year-old John Callis, proudly donning a Lamar Jackson jersey, took to the streets yelling, "I don't lose!"
I don't lose! Yeah!
As he searched for Commanders fans to confront. It wasn't long before things turned violent. Videos circulating on social media captured the alarming scene. Callis approached two unsuspecting fans wearing Commanders jerseys. In a shocking display, he assaulted them, knocking one unconscious and slamming the other against a wall. Both victims, only 23 years old, were left reeling from the attack. As the news broke, the Baltimore Police Department acted quickly, issuing an arrest warrant for Callis on charges of first-degree aggravated assault and 3 counts of second-degree assault.
Baltimore police now searching for this man in connection to an assault near Cross Street Market. Police issued a warrant for John Callis's arrest.
In Maryland, first-degree assault is classified as a felony, potentially leading to a lengthy prison sentence of up to 25 years. Meanwhile, second-degree assault is a misdemeanor, carrying a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison and/or a fine of $2,500. This incident has raised concerns about fan behavior and safety at sporting events. In a sport fueled by rivalry and passion, how far is too far? Fans should be able to celebrate their team's victories without fear of violence. The reaction to this incident has been swift, with many condemning Callis's actions and calling for stricter measures to ensure safety at games. Following his identification, Callis's employer, Maury Donnelly and Parr, Inc., wasted no time in taking action. They announced his termination, stating, "MDP has a zero-tolerance policy for violence and aggressive behavior. This individual is no longer employed with our firm." But this isn't Callis's first brush with the law. Reports reveal that he faced an assault charge in 2021 while in St. Augustine, Florida, after an altercation with a police officer. He pleaded not guilty and was placed on probation in 2022. This troubling pattern raises questions about accountability and the need for education around appropriate behavior in sports. As fans, we must consider what drives this kind of aggression. Is it the rivalry, the pressure of the game, or something deeper? How do we foster a culture of respect and sportsmanship when faced with such incidents? The Baltimore Police Department is urging anyone with information about the incident to come forward, emphasizing the importance of community involvement in addressing these issues. As this story unfolds, it highlights a crucial conversation about fan behavior, safety, and the impact of rivalry in sports. Will we see changes implemented to ensure a safer environment for all fans? Or will incidents like this continue to tarnish the spirit of competition? Only time will tell. As the dust settles on this unsettling incident, we're left wondering, what does this mean for the future of fan interactions in sports? Will authorities take decisive action, or will we continue to see passionate fans crossing the line? Stay tuned as we follow this story, because the implications are far-reaching and could change how we view sportsmanship forever. Topic 2, in the NFL, confidence is key, but when it crosses the line into disrespect, things can get messy. Imagine a duo so powerful they dominated the NFL for years, racking up touchdowns, breaking records, and creating one of the most unstoppable forces in football. Now, they're back together.
The New York Jets have acquired Davante Adams in a trade with the Raiders.
Reunites Aaron Rodgers and Adams, who played together in Green Bay for quite some time.
Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. After a turbulent start to the Jets' season, this blockbuster trade brings these two back on the same team. Could this be the move that finally turns things around for New York? Or is it too little, too late? Keep watching to find out how this reunion could either save or sink the Jets' season. When the news broke that Davante Adams was being traded to the New York Jets, it sent shockwaves through the NFL. Fans everywhere started buzzing about one thing: his reunion with Aaron Rodgers. Together, these two built a legacy in Green Bay that had defenders scrambling and offenses in awe. With 123 receptions, 753 yards, and 11 touchdowns in their last season together.
He's the best receiver in the league, and that's how he practices and that's how he plays. Like, you better put 11 on me to stop me.
They were nearly unstoppable. But the question on everyone's mind is, can they rekindle that magic in New York? Rodgers, now with the Jets, hasn't had the smooth season many expected. A rough 2-4 start, combined with coaching changes and an inconsistent offense, has left fans frustrated. But adding Adams into the mix, that might just be the spark that lights a fire under this team. Let's take a step back and look at what made Rodgers and Adams such an elite combination. It wasn't just their individual talents, although those are undeniable, but their on-field chemistry that made them lethal. When Rodgers threw the ball, he didn't even have to look where Adams was. He just knew he'd be in the right spot. And Adams, he could anticipate Rodgers' every move.
3rd down and 9. Packers must get to the 32 as this pass is caught by Adams.
This kind of connection is rare in the NFL, and it takes years to build. Rodgers has had his fair share of solid receivers, but none like Adams. Now imagine them in a Jets uniform, facing off against top defenses. Rodgers' precision passes, combined with Adams' route running, have the potential to wreak havoc on opponents. But with every great comeback story, there's always a catch. Will their old magic be enough to overcome the challenges they face in New York? The Jets' offense this season has been inconsistent, to put it mildly. The team fired head coach Robert Saleh after a 2-3 start, and offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett was relieved of play-calling duties. That's not exactly the environment you want to walk into when you're trying to turn a season around. The offensive line has struggled to protect Rodgers, and the team has had a hard time getting anything going in the passing game. So where does Adams fit into all of this? Adding him to the offense gives the Jets a true number one receiver, someone Rodgers can trust to make the big plays when it matters most. But with the offensive line still being a major concern, it won't be easy. Rodgers has been getting hit far too often this season, and adding Adams doesn't magically fix that. However, Adams' ability to create separation and make catches under pressure could help relieve some of that stress. The offensive line will need to step up if the Jets want to maximize Adams' impact. If they can give Rodgers even a little more time in the pocket, this duo could become one of the most dangerous in the league again. But if the protection remains shaky, even a player as talented as Adams might not be enough to turn things around. With Adams in the lineup, the Jets can now open up their playbook in ways they couldn't before. Garrett Wilson, the Jets' rising star wide receiver.
Garrett Wilson, wow! What a catch!
No longer has to shoulder the burden of being the team's top target. Defenses will have to account for both Wilson and Adams, which opens up opportunities for other players like Allen Lazard and Breece Hall. The presence of Adams gives the Jets flexibility. They can stretch the field with deep routes or rely on Adams' ability to make plays after the catch. This balance could allow Rodgers to return to what he does best, dissecting defenses with precision throws. But it's not just about offense. The ripple effect of having Adams on the field could also impact the Jets' defense. If the offense can control the clock and keep drives alive, it gives the defense more time to rest and recover between series. This can be especially important in close games where every minute counts. While the addition of Adams is a huge win for the Jets, it doesn't mean they're out of the woods yet. Let's not forget, the team is still 2-4, and the offensive line remains a significant weakness. Even the best receivers in the world can't perform if their quarterback is constantly under pressure. The schedule ahead isn't doing the Jets any favors either. They've got games against some of the toughest defenses in the league, including the Steelers and the Dolphins. These teams will be looking to exploit the Jets' weak offensive line and force Rodgers into uncomfortable situations. Another potential hurdle? The limited time Rodgers and Adams have to re-establish their connection. While their chemistry is undeniable, they haven't played together in nearly 2 seasons. Building that timing and trust on the field takes time, and the Jets don't have much of it. Every game from here on out is crucial, and there's little room for error. If they can't find their rhythm quickly, the Jets could find themselves out of playoff contention before they even get a chance to see Adams and Rodgers at their full potential. It's not just about getting Rodgers and Adams back on the same page. The entire Jets organization is feeling the heat. This is a team that was built to win now. With a 40-year-old quarterback and a roster full of talent, the expectations are sky high. But as we've seen, talent alone doesn't guarantee success. The Jets will need to pull together as a team, with every player stepping up to do their part. Adams can only do so much, if the offensive line continues to struggle or if the defense starts to falter, even the best quarterback-receiver duo in the league won't be enough. The pressure is on. Everyone is watching to see if Rodgers and Adams can bring the magic back and save the Jets' season. If they succeed, it could go down as one of the greatest mid-season turnarounds in NFL history. But if they fail, it could mark the end of Rodgers' career and another long offseason for the Jets. One key player in all of this is offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. Hackett worked with Rodgers and Adams in Green Bay, where they saw incredible success. But things haven't gone as smoothly in New York. Hackett's play calling has come under fire, and there have been concerns about whether he can effectively lead this offense. Now, with Adams back in the fold, Hackett has a chance to prove himself. He knows how to get the best out of Rodgers and Adams, and this could be his opportunity to silence the critics. But it won't be easy. Hackett will need to design plays that give Rodgers enough time to find his targets, and he'll have to be creative in how he uses Adams and Wilson together. This is a make-or-break moment for Hackett. If he can turn things around and lead the Jets to success, it could secure his future in New York. But if the offense continues to struggle, he could be the next one out the door. The clock is ticking. The Jets are running out of time to save their season, and all eyes are on Rodgers and Adams. Will their reunion be enough to turn things around? Or are the Jets destined for another year of disappointment? One thing's for sure, this next game could be the turning point. Make sure you don't miss it.
It's a reset for everybody. When you make a change on the offense, it's a mirror that's held up for all of us who played, and we all feel terrible about the opportunity that we had, that we squandered, that led to Robert getting fired and Hack getting demoted. I play better. This doesn't happen. We play better on offense. This doesn't happen. So I think it puts a spotlight on us, and now it's on us.
The pressure is building in New York, and Shannon Sharp isn't holding back.
And you won't call Aaron Rodgers out. He's playing awful. You know it. Everybody in New York knows it, and everybody around the NFL knows it. He's playing terrible. Call it like you see it.
Aaron Rodgers is playing terrible. And is the future Hall of Famer losing his grip, or can he turn this season around? Shannon Sharp says it's time to face the truth, and we're about to break down why Rodgers is underperforming and what this means for the Jets moving forward. The New York Jets came into this season with sky-high expectations after acquiring Aaron Rodgers, but things have quickly spiraled out of control. The Jets are now 2-3 after their crushing loss to the Minnesota Vikings, and all eyes are on Rodgers with 2 touchdowns. But those numbers were overshadowed by his 3 critical interceptions and a completion rate of just 53%. This was far from the Aaron Rodgers we're used to seeing, and it's starting to raise serious questions about whether he can still deliver at the elite level. Shannon Sharp didn't mince words. Aaron Rodgers is playing terrible. Shannon Sharp, known for his blunt, no-nonsense takes, went straight for the jugular in his analysis of Rodgers' recent performances. I was told they were bringing a guy in to fix the offense. Now they're losing, and everyone wants to blame the offense instead of Aaron. No. You call it like you see it, and Aaron Rodgers is playing terrible. For Sharp, this isn't just about one bad game. He pointed out that Rodgers' completion percentage has been consistently subpar for 2 weeks now, 57% last week, and a dismal 53% this week. Sharp reminded us that this is the same Aaron Rodgers who was supposed to be the savior for the Jets, but instead he's been a major liability. Dan Orlovsky, another football analyst and former quarterback, tried to offer a more balanced perspective.
There is a way that you have to play Minnesota. First of all, I never blamed the quarterbacks in New York. I always blamed the situation. I'm the guy who tries to put context on performances. I'm not telling anybody that Aaron has played well the past 2 weeks. By no means. He even said it himself, not up to his standard. But Shannon, you know this. There is a way that you have to play as an offense to help your guys play well against certain defenses.
Not turn the ball over.
According to Orlovsky, it's not just about Rodgers. He pointed out that Minnesota is known for its aggressive, unpredictable defense. But Sharp wasn't having any of it. You're protecting him, Dan. When it was Zach Wilson, Mike White, or Sam Darnold, you blame the quarterback. So why not call out Aaron Rodgers when he's clearly the problem? Orlovsky admitted that Rodgers hasn't played well, but insisted that it's also about the larger context, the offensive game plan, the protection schemes, and the play calling. But Sharp refused to let Orlovsky off the hook, arguing that as a Hall of Famer, Rodgers should be able to rise above these issues and still deliver results. Stephen A. Smith jumped into the debate, and while he echoed some of Orlovsky's points, "This is the worst game I've seen Aaron Rodgers play in years," and Smith declared. Why? Because of the offense, and specifically because of Aaron Rodgers' poor play. Smith also revealed some behind-the-scenes info, sharing that Vikings head coach Brian Flores had prepared specifically for Rodgers, blitzing him on 42% of his dropbacks. For Smith, the problem is clear. Rodgers isn't just failing to meet expectations. The Jets brought Aaron Rodgers to New York with the belief that he would elevate them into Super Bowl contention. They even went so far as to let Rodgers handpick his offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. But now, with Hackett being demoted and the Jets' season hanging by a thread, it's clear that this grand plan is falling apart. Sharp argued that Rodgers is under more pressure than ever before, and he's not handling it well. The Jets' defense is among the best in the league. Rodgers wanted this, he wanted Hackett, and now he has to own the results. The big question on everyone's mind is whether Aaron Rodgers is starting to decline. At 39 years old, Rodgers is one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league. The Vikings game was a clear sign that Rodgers isn't invincible, showing signs of frustration on the field. Shannon Sharp pointed out that Rodgers' body language during the game was concerning. He doesn't look like the Aaron Rodgers we've seen in the past. He looks frustrated, he looks unsure, and that's affecting the entire team. Is it possible that Rodgers has reached the point in his career where he's no longer capable of carrying a team on his own? Or is this just a temporary slump that he'll bounce back from? Sharp isn't convinced that Rodgers can turn things around, and he's urging everyone to stop making excuses for him. The Jets have some serious soul-searching to do. Rodgers needs to figure out how to adjust to the challenges he's facing, but as Shannon Sharp pointed out, time is running out. The Jets can't afford to keep losing games. Rodgers will need to step up in a big way if the Jets are going to have any hope of turning this season around. Pressure is mounting, and if Rodgers doesn't find a way to get back to his MVP form soon, the Jets' season could be over before it even really begins. Is Aaron Rodgers past his prime, or can he still lead the Jets to a deep playoff run? Shannon Sharp says it's time to face the truth, but the real test will come in the next few weeks. Can Rodgers turn it around, or is this the beginning of the end for the Jets' Super Bowl hopes? Stay tuned, because this drama is just getting started.